One of my earliest childhood memories of spending time with my grandma is when I used to come into her bedroom, plop down on her bed, and together we would play cards. She used to have this wooden card holder board that would literally just hold your cards for you. And she used to always let me use it whenever we played. And I remember so vividly thinking to myself, wow, doesn't she ever want to use it? And that kind of willingness to engage with my brother and I growing up is something that was so unique to my grandma. You know, she would always listen to what we were saying growing up. And my grandma was always that person that we could go to, you know, with our excitement about our new toy or our new gadget, our new video game. And we knew that she would be right there with us, enjoying the excitement of it. She very much treated us like adults, yet at the same time she engaged with our child interests. Whether it was crashing NASCARs across the living room floor with my brother, or sitting down on the couch in the basement as she watched my brother and myself play video games for hours on end. And so sharing with my grandma was something that was so rewarding because she gave you the reaction and the interest that you wanted as a child. One thing that makes my grandma so wonderful to be around is that she has this warm aura about her. She's someone whose energy just invites you in. It's completely non-judgmental. She is just an incredible listener. And when I say listener, what I really mean by that is that she doesn't just hear you, she really listens to what you're saying. When you're having a conversation with her and you're talking and you say something, she'll pause for about 30 seconds. And then she'll say something. And what she says is just distilled down to its essence. It's an idea, a thought, an expansion upon whatever you were telling her, but it is in its most clear and cogent form. There's no fluff or chatter in what she has to say. She's always very thoughtful in what she speaks. And so when you're talking to her, by no means does her being a good listener mean that it's a one-sided conversation. She brings so much intellectualness to a conversation, but without using a lot of words. And that's what makes her so enjoyable to talk to and to have great discussions with. I would say that my grandma has the truest and most pure form of intellectual vitality of anyone that I have ever or probably will ever meet in my life. What I mean by that is that, as my family says, she is truly a lifelong learner. She's someone who embraces learning in every form. She has true curiosity about the world. She's incredibly interested in science, the universe, understanding black holes. But, you know, for a lot of us, we'll learn about things because, you know, we want to have cool table topics to drop in conversation. But my grandma's interest, it's true vitality in the sense that she enjoys intellectual and scientific exploration for the integrity of itself and for nothing more than that. And even now, making this video, I think this is very much something that has been inspired by my grandma's intellectual vitality, because I've seen in her how much she's invested in her passions, and it's deeply inspired me to do the same with mine. One of the ways in which my grandma's ideology has influenced me the most is with a statement that I think she said once, and it's certainly something that she lives by. It's this idea that we have to be our own best friend. The truth is that in some form or another, people will sometimes disappoint you. But if we're our own best friends, we have the power to choose our happiness, to choose our kind of eternal contentment. And that's something that my grandma absolutely has. And the way you go about being your own best friend is by investing in yourself. I don't think that there's any single sentence or phrase in my life that has impacted me so deeply as that. And so no idea is more dear or more important to my identity, in some ways my identity as an introvert, than the idea that my grandma developed of being your own best friend. My grandma also has this incredible appreciation for the world. I think a lot of that appreciation ties back to her love of science because, she really loves the fact that the world can be explained in math and science. Whether she's walking around Longwood Gardens and admiring the flowers and the botanicals, or whether or not she's just finished a meal that my father has prepared and she kind of comments and appreciates just all the effort that went into preparing a meal. That broad vision and insight into the world is what I call wisdom, and it's what I am so deeply inspired by in my grandma. And I don't think there are any world perspectives that have influenced me so much as those that my grandma has defined in her own life. I think few people realize, and my grandma probably realizes least, how much she has touched every person in our family and how much impact she has had on me personally.